OpenTX can be a little bit daunting, and and at the very beginning when I was trying to understand, I was scared to death because I mean it's kind of tricky. There's a lot of information, but not very specifically made for the construction model or the hydraulic, etc. So that's why I had this idea to first did a video in French, and then on Facebook some people asked me if I could do a translation. So here it is. I will try to explain how I set up my model, which is a very special model. I love that model, by the way. It's a Carson LR634, which represents a Liebherr track model, and I've converted it to a DS755D. As you can see in this video, I have 3 speeds for the tracks, slow, medium, and fast. So you get 3 speeds for the hydraulics, like low, medium, and fast. And it helps with being able to be very precise on the different movements. This is my idea. My idea is to have as more precise control as possible, as close to the real models as possible as well. So we're going to look at the system parameters, and what we're going to do first, we're going to go to the information page, because I will show you that I'm using the latest OpenTX version at this date, which is like early January 2021, and the version is 2.3.10. You cannot see over here because my model is not connected to the radio, but of course my my receiver, which is a X8R from FRSKY as well, is using the latest version for the receiver, which I guess is the 2.3.10 as well. And I'm using the AC CST protocol in EU LBT. I've set up my radio to have 2 global functions because I want to have this function in all my models. So the S1 button controls the backlight of the screen, as you can see. And the S2 button is controlling the loudness of the internal speaker. Okay, I can control it from the S2 and the backlight from the S1. What else do we have? So parameters, radio setup, as nothing fancy. Everything, I mean, you set up the clock, etc., the date. I think that's it. I'm just using the tools page. I'm just using the FRSKY SBEC because I'm using a Neuron 60S on my model. Other than that, I'm not using anything over here. But everything is going on the model page, which is this button, long press. So on this page, which is the model setup, you can name the model, you can create, assign an image, which is a special PNG file, which has to be like 6 characters long, and the image has to be a special size. I will write it down for you. Over here, that's where I've set up my 2 timers. My first timer is the total timer because I'd like to have a rough idea of how long I've been running my track loader since the beginning, actually since I bought this new radio. The timer number 2 is the session timer, which gives me an idea of how long I've been running the battery, for example. I've set up 2 pre-flight checks, which is the switch A and switch D. What else? Like I said, I'm using D16A CCST protocol, 8 channel, only for this model. And yeah, I guess that's it. So I like to start with the output page when I'm setting up my model for one main reason. It's the way physically the servos or the pump or the hardware is connected to the receiver. This means that for each channel, this is exactly the position where the servo or the pump is plugged on the receiver. So for example, my channel 1 is my arm, channel 2 is the left motor, channel 3 is the right motor, channel 4 is the bucket, channel 5 is the 4-in-1, channel 6 is the pump, the hydraulic pump, and channel 7 and channel 8 are dedicated to the sound module. So when I'm starting, I plugged everything the way I want, the way it's more efficient for me in terms of wiring, etc. So for each channel, for example, you have to set up the start and end courses, and you can also set up the neutral. For example, for the harm, you can see the neutral is slightly, it's not on the 0 position, it's at 1.5. For the bucket, it's at 7, and for the 4-in-1, it's at 10. This is something you adjust for each servo. As you can see, for channel 5, 6, and 7, I have a special curve applied. You see, I call that curve right slider. That's because if you look carefully, when I'm slightly moving the 40 sticks, I have a slight move in the bucket. It starts the pump, and also it starts the hydraulic sound. I've created a special curve. And if you look carefully over here, this curve has a neutral point between -3 and +3. Because in my case, I don't want to have like any sound or any pump starting when I'm just touching or slightly touching the 40 sticks. But I think that's it for the output. So what I did is I just set up my this stick movement, which is a direction, and gas, which is, in English is rudder and throttle. I've set up 3 different positions with 3 different switch positions as well. So if I look at the 100%, it's a full power. The source is the rudder, which is this axis. 100% because it's the full position, and I've applied a special curve which helps me smoothen the movement and have better control on the track loader when it's at its full potential. And the switch is the SA switch on the hub position. So for the medium power, I've set up is the same. Source is the rudder. I've set up a special curve, which is a 30% expo curve, and the SA switch in the middle position to activate the medium speed. The smaller speeds possible is 60%, a different expo curve, and also, as you can see, the AC switch in the down position. So basically you do the same for the gas. Remember, in English it's rudder and throttle. It's written over here. So AC in the up position, 100%. AC in the middle position, 67%. AC in the down position, 60%. And as you can see in the video, it gives me 3 different speeds for the track for moving my track loader. And for the bucket and arm hydraulic movement, I've set up also 3 different powers. It's controlled on the right stick with the elevator and the aileron. So the elevator is for the arm and the aileron is for the bucket. And I've applied some different special powers. And the switch that will control the different powers is the SD switch in the up, middle, and down position. So as you can see, the source is the elevator, which is this one. There is a special curve applied, and then the switch which is controlling this power is SD in the up position. You have the same. But this time is 67% is for the medium position with the SD switch in the middle position, and then the smallest speed, the pump speed, is 55. And this is SD in the down position. And for this one, I've got an expo curve, which is a -60 because it's going to start pretty early and then it's smoothened after a while. And that's the way I like my arm, which is my arm to move. And same for the bucket. If you look at the bucket over here, let's say the minimum speed, the bucket, same, -60%. But I mean, you can set up your own expo curve. It's not really necessary. So what's left is in the input is the 4-in-1 bucket, which is a right slider. So for this one, I've set up a special weight because, as you can see in the video, if you want to have some very precise control on the movements of the 4-in-1 bucket, I've set up a 50% weight, and remember in the output I've set up a 40% total range for the servo. So, and I might, you know what, I might lower that number down to maybe 30%, something like that, because I do think it's still too fast. But anyway, it's a matter of taste. Do the best for you. For the pump, I've set up a button, which is this one, to switch the pump on at 15% power. And that was recommended to me by my hydraulic system manufacturer, which is MPE Models in France, because he told me that it's always better to have like the pump running every time, but at a very low speed with low electricity consumption. But at least when you move, when you use and when you start and stop moving the hydraulic valves, it's not starting and stopping the motor, the pump every time. And when I don't use my pump, I just switch it off. So now we're going to move to the mixes page, which is probably the most interesting. Because I'm using a track loader and I want to use only one switch to control the speed, moving forward, backward, left and right, instead of having using two different sticks to do that. Because I want to have everything on one stick, I had to do a special mix, and that's this one. I'm saying that channel 2, I've created a mix which is like 100% of the, it's rudder in English, sorry. So 100% of this one mixed. Remember, you have to long press, insert after, mixed with 100% of the gas. The gas in English is throttle. So throttle mixed, let me show you. So I'm mixing 100% of throttle on the channel 2, which is the rudder. And you do the same, channel 3, you do another special mix, which is like, you revert it. You say 100% of the throttle, and you want to add a mix of minus 100% of the rudder. That's how you set up a track model to have all the movements, the track's movements on one stick instead of having two sticks. Like I said, the channel 1, which is the arm, the channel 4, which is the bucket, the channel 5, there is a special curve, but let's say it's not really necessary. I don't need and I don't use any mixes on this one. But what I'm going to need is I need to tell my pump, my hydraulic pump, that every time I'm moving the channel 4, the channel 1 and the channel 5, which is the arm, bucket and 4-in-1, I need to tell the pump that she should run at 100% as soon as I moved one of this channel. Just keep in mind that it's this switch which commands the pump. So for my pump, I'm going to add, insert after, remember? You will have to insert the channel, well, it's not in the good order, but you have to insert channel 1, channel 4 and channel 5, which are, remember, the hydraulic channels I'm using. And for each channel, let's say for the bucket, you're going to say the source is the channel 4, the weight is 100%, and then you have to apply a special curve, which is the function. And this function, absolute value of x, and it's because it's using a pump. So you need to have this special curve with absolute value of x for every mixes you're going to use with this pump. The channel 7 is for the sound module. It works kind of the same, which means that the sound module has two different sound options. There is one entry on the receiver which is controlling all the hydraulic sounds, and there is one entry which is controlling all the motor, the engine sounds. Now I had to add 4 different mixes, and it's very precise. That's because I'm using a servo note sound module called SMR, and it's special for track model. This one is as you can see, 100%, but you need to have an offset of 80% because the start button is not, it's only going to work from 80 to 100%. And if you look at the horn over here, it's reverted. The horn is working only on the weight from -100 to -80. And it's very important. It's written in the manual, so don't worry. I mean, if you have a sound module, everything is explained, and the manual is in English, and you can download it as well. On this one, which is the mixes which are used by the older hydraulic system, which is like the arm, the bucket, and the 4-in-1. The manual told you that you have to apply a maximum of 40% for all the hydraulic movement, and 16 times 3, as you can see, it's too much. So we need to change this value to 13%. So it's very simple. You go to weight, click once, 13, nothing fancy over here, and we want to do the same for the right slider, which is the 4-in-1 bucket. So this time, like I said, we have 3 times 13, which is like 39, which is below the recommended 40% for the sound module. Now the channel 8 is for the engine sound, the track sound exactly. So you have to set up a mix which says that you're going to apply on the source is this one, of course, the throttle in English, and you have to apply 100% weight, nothing fancy, everything is normal, and yeah, that's it for the mixes. What else do we got? In my radio control, as you know, there was some modification made by a friend, and he added for the 40 sticks, and like I said, I had to replace the SF and SH 3-position switch to a 2-position toggle button. And in order for this to work, you have to create some logical switches. So it's kind of easy. You just create the first one is going to be SH is this one. Oops, you go over there. You have some choices over here, but you go to sticky. Then you say it's going to be SH. So SH in the down position. Oops, SH in the down position. Same here. Yeah, and that's it. You do the same for the SF, which is, remember, it's for my horn. I wanted to have a vocal alert for some telemetry on my track loader. So one of the telemetry I want to have notice of is when the battery goes below 9.30 volts. I'm using a 3S LiPo battery on that model. So what I've created is, when I'm saying that when this telemetry input goes below 9.30 volt for 10 seconds minimum, I will show you later in the next tab, but I will have a vocal alert. And I did the same when the temperature of my ESC goes above 75 degrees Celsius for 2 seconds. I will have a vocal alert as well. So let me show you the vocal alert. Vocal alert are dealt on the special functions tab. So I'm saying that when L03 is active, I want the radio to play a value, which is the voltage from the ESC, and I want to have this value called for 3 seconds minimum. Same for L04, I want to have the radio to play me a value, which is the ESC temperature, for at least 5 seconds. Yeah, and that's it. I think that's it. And of course, the telemetry, it will depend on the sensor you got. All my telemetry comes from my Neuron S ESC that is plugged to my pump. So I think we're good. I think we're done. So thanks for watching. Feel free to ask any questions. I will do my best to answer them, even though I'm not an expert by any means. There's a few nice resources on the internet that you can check out if you want. It's more about planes and drones, etc., as you know, but there is some good information there. Yeah, please subscribe, put a thumbs up, and have a good day, my friends.